You think about this, that a Zoom vote, one person couldn't get into the meeting. What would you have done? Would you have said, no, we must do this again?
I think the bit that was really important to me was how much effort went into trying to get that member the ability to actually vote. So, I mean, I wasn't there. It looked as if they did everything they could, and, you have to move on. But I guess that for me, it's about, it seems very convenient that this is kind of like blamed on Zoom, because it's also entirely possible that if we were having physical meetings, as indeed our town and parish councils have to, that you could be stuck in traffic. Is it so very different?
I mean, if something's missed by one vote and that person wanted to vote and that vote would have essentially prevented a big controversial measure from taking place, it doesn't seem very cricket to say, well, no, that's it, the vote counts.
Yeah, but it's not cricket, is it? It's politics. And as I say, equally, it could have been that he was stuck in traffic.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't feel it's a good argument. I mean, I kind of feel very sorry for my town and parish councils. I feel very strongly about them, who at the moment cannot meet virtually. We still have people that feel that they have to be socially isolated and can't go to full council meetings, and yet we are not able to have virtual meetings in England. I mean, how exclusive is that?
Yeah, so what's going on there? How come you can't have virtual meetings?
Legislation during coronavirus was introduced to enable it, because most of our legislation was written in 1972 when it wasn't even thought of. And it was brought in for a year, thinking, coronavirus, come on, it can't last for a year. But apparently it can. So the legislation failed on, I think, the 7th of May, which meant that after the 7th of May, although we were still doing social distancing, all that kind of thing, we had to go back to having full physical council meetings if we wanted to make any decisions.
And do you prefer them being virtual? Are you still, laying down the law in person, Jackie?
Well, first of all, I'm not employed by Zoom, so don't think I'm just totally Zoom. But I think we saw definitely that during the pandemic, there was more interest in local council meetings. Now, it could be because people weren't going out as much, but I think it was actually because the meetings were made much more accessible because they were online. And that's something that we really want to retain and encourage. But that's not the same as my saying that all council meetings must be virtual. But I think that we should allow our local councils to decide for themselves what's best for their communities in terms of meetings.
And Jackie, how did it feel becoming an overnight internet sensation?
As soon as I have time to think about that, I'll let you know.
Has it completely turned your life around?
Busy. Well, yes and no. I've certainly got really busy. That's just amazing that people are still interested. And I hope that's some kind of reflection of them being interested in local councils. But I've just been so busy. I haven't had time to stop and think about how does this feel.
We've all been enjoying it anyway, Jackie. And before you go, our big talking point today is Boris. He's so lovable, isn't he? But can we take him seriously? What's your view on our PM?
I always worry about that old, I don't know if I can even say it on TV, but that old phrase of fur coat and, I think you know the rest of it. And when you get so much of a good performance, you can't help but wonder if it's backed up.
Oh, but he does make us all feel good, it has to be said. And so do you, Jackie. It's been utterly delightful having you on. What a legend here on GB News.